Hello everybody, I'm Abasud and thanks for joining me. So in this session we are discussing about the governance and ERM, that is enterprise risk management. This topic is really very big. So in today's session we will be only discussing about what it is corresponding to cloud computing. So, for security professional, cloud computing impacts four areas of governance and risk. That is about governance, enterprise risk management, information risk management, and information security. So, governance includes policies, procedure, and internal control that comprise how an organization is run. Everything from structures and policies to the leadership and other mechanisms for management. Enterprise risk management include managing all risk for the organization aligned to the organization's governance and risk tolerance. Enterprise risk management in all areas of risk. That's not merely concerned about the technology, and cloud comes under technology. Information risk management covers managing the risk to the information, including information technologies. Organization face all sort of risks from a financial to physical, and information is only one of the multiple asset and organization need to manage. Next is information security, is the tools and practices to manage the risk to information. Information security isn't the be all and end all of managing information risk. Policies and contracts, insurance, and other mechanisms also play a role. However, if not, the primary role of information security is to provide the process and control to protect electronic information and the system we can use to access. So next, let's discuss about governance in detail. Cloud computing affects governance since it's either introduce a third party into the process or potentially alter internal governance structure. In case of self-hosted private cloud, the primary issue to remember when governing cloud computing is that an organization can never outsource responsibility of governance even when using external providers. This is always true, cloud or not, but is useful to keep in mind when navigating cloud computing concepts of shared responsibility model. So there are few tools for the cloud governance, that is contract, supplier assessment, and compliance report. Now see what is contract. Contract is the primary tool of governance, is the contract between provider and the cloud customer. The contract is your only guarantee of any level of service or commitment. Assuming there is no breach of contract, which tosses everything into a legal scenario. Contracts are primary tool to extend governance into business partners and providers. Next is supplier assessments. You can also say cloud provider assessment. These assessments are performed by potential cloud customer using available information and allowed processes and techniques. They combine contractual and manual research with third party attestation to communicate the result of assessment and technical research. They are very similar to any supplier assessment and can include aspects like financial viability, history, feature offer, third party attestation, feedback from peers, and so on. And next is compliance reporting. Compliance reporting include all the documents on the provider's internal or external compliance assessment. They are the reports from auditors of controls which an organization can perform themselves, a customer can perform on a provider, or have performed by the trusted third party. Third party audits and assessment are preferred since they provide independent validation. Like in case of cloud, we can go for the CSA assessment, that is CSA stars. So that makes us easy to understand the security level of our cloud service provider. Next is enterprise risk management. Enterprise risk management is overall management of risk for an organization. As with governance, the contracts define the roles and responsibility for risk management between cloud provider and cloud customer. And as this governance, you can never outsource your overall responsibility and accountability of risk management to the external party. Risk management in cloud is based on the shared responsibility of model. The cloud provider accepts some responsibility for certain risk, and the cloud customer is responsible for anything beyond that. This is especially evident as you evaluate difference between service models, where the provider manage more risks in SaaS and consumer more in as. But again, the cloud user is ultimately responsible or ownership of the risk. They only pass on some of the risk management to cloud providers. Now, ERM relies on good contract and documentation to know where the division of responsibility and potential for untreated risk lies. Whereas governance is nearly exclusively focuses on contract risk management, can dive deeper into the technology and process capability of the provider based on their documentation. For example, a contract will be really define how network security is actually implemented. Review of providers documentation will provide much more information to help with the effective risk decision. The advantage and disadvantage to manage risk for deployment. So there is less physical control over assets and their controls and processes. You cannot physically contact the infrastructure or provider internal processes. There is great reliance on contract audit and assessment as your lack of day-to-day visibility or management. This creates an increased requirement of proactive management of relationship and adherence to contracts, which extends beyond the initial contract signing and auditing. Cloud provider also constantly evolve their product and services to maintain competitive, and these ongoing innovation might exceed strain and not be covered by existing agreement and assessment. Cloud customer has a reduced need to manage risk that the cloud provider accept under the shared responsibility model. So cloud risk management tools. So the following process help form the foundation for managing risk management in cloud computing deployment. One of the core tenets of risk management is you can manage, transfer, accept, or avoid the risk, but everything starts with proper assessment. That is, first is request or acquire documents. Second is review their security program and documentation. Third is review any legal, regulatory, contractual, or judicial requirement for both the provider and yourself. Evaluate the contracted service in context of your information assets. Next is separately evaluate overall provider such as financial stability, reputation, outsources. So thank you for joining. This is what we are having in the session.